Hey YouTube, Jim here. Welcome to Top 10 Archive. It's probably been a Halloween or two since you've last visited a haunted house. But have you ever been to a real haunted house? If you haven't, perhaps it's because all the ones near you were demolished. Some haunted places hold so much bad energy that they must be torn down to start all over. On the other hand, some true crime fans just won't leave these places alone and let the ghosts rest. Today we'll go through the top 10 haunted houses so bad they were demolished.
Number 10. The Indiana house called Portal to Demons. This house was so fiercely haunted that no one, not even a ghost hunter, was able to handle it. One of its last residents had the hardest time there. She was a mother of 3 and tried everything before eventually moving away. The people she called on for help reported seeing the family in all sorts of frightening scenarios, speaking in tongues, walking on walls, levitating, and convulsing. The family was there for less than a year before leaving to find peace. Before tearing it down, the producer of Ghost Adventures on the Travel Channel, Zak Bagans, bought it and tried to keep it, realizing that whatever was haunting it was too powerful and smart. Number 9. Myra Hindley and Ian Brady's house. Myra Hindley and Ian Brady were a murderous couple who killed 5 children in the 1960s, though only 3 of their victims' bodies were ever found. Of course, many wondered whether they were still in the house. After the couple was arrested, the home remained empty for years, infamous for what had happened inside. Nobody would even give it a chance, knowing children had not only died, but were perhaps still buried inside. Not only was the home demolished in 1987, nothing was ever built on the property after that either. Number 8. The Pettit Family Home. When looking back in Connecticut history, few home invasions have made such an impact in the local community as the Pettit family. In 2007, the family of 4 suffered Stephen Hayes and Joshua Komisarjevsky's attack on their home. They hit William Pettit with a baseball bat and took his wife Jennifer to the bank to withdraw money, while the rest of the family was bound at home. The wife and 2 daughters were murdered while William escaped only to watch the house catch on fire. After such a tragedy, the home was torn down and made into not another house, but a memorial garden for the family. Number 7. Fred and Rose West's house. Another serial killer couple's home, this time across the pond in Gloucester City, England. Together, they murdered at least 10 women in the 1970s and 1980s. As if the murders themselves weren't gruesome enough, after the women were dead, the couple dismembered and buried them in the home, sometimes in the cellar or the garden. Fred was sentenced to prison first and killed himself later. Rose was convicted and sentenced to life. So full of sadness was their house that the home was demolished and flattened into a public walkway after the Gloucester City Council purchased it. Number 6. Anthony Sowell's house. Between 2007 and 2009, a man named Anthony Sowell killed 11 women and later became known as the Cleveland Strangler. The women's bodies were found in his home in varying states of decomposition, and after searching thoroughly for them all, the city decided to tear it down. It was simply too full of horror. So relieved were the victims' families to see it come down that they actually stood outside to watch the event. Number 5. The Valley's Haunted Mansion. Previously located on Clovis and Santa Ana Avenues in Clovis, California, the Valley's Haunted Mansion got its name after serving as a hospital, sanitarium, and nursing home. Since some believed it was haunted by the spirits of those who died, it became a common Halloween attraction before it was torn down. Both Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures featured it as one of the most haunted places in America. It probably could have continued haunting people day after day, year after year, if the city had not decided it was a hazard. The owner eventually stopped fighting the city on the issue of tearing it down. Number 4. Ted Bundy's house. Ted Bundy is one of the most notorious evil people in history. In the 1970s, he killed 30 women, or at least that's what he confessed to. His house in Utah was destroyed and reduced to just a pile of bricks. This makes sense, as it was not only far too full of bad energy, but also too big of a tourist attraction for true crime fans. The cellar of the home did remain intact, and ghost hunters attempted to visit repeatedly. Number 3. Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment. Serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. In the 1990s, it became the most gruesome crime scene the local police force had ever faced. Dahmer had lured 17 boys into his home, tortured and killed them. Bits and pieces of the boys' bodies were found around the house, including in the refrigerator, where it came out that Dahmer had been eating his victims. Since it was an apartment, his whole building had to deal with the fact that children had died so close to where they slept at night. Next, they had to cope with the number of visitors that drove by all the time. His neighbors stopped eating and sleeping until they all moved out, and the site of the murders was demolished, remaining flat and empty ever since. Number 2. The Bloody Bender's house. This was the home of John Bender, his wife Elvira, and their 2 kids. The family would invite travelers to stay with them, and then murder them by smashing their heads, cutting their throats, and stealing from them. After the town started noticing and held a meeting, the Benders abandoned the home, and neighbors started smelling the remains of their victims. 11 bodies were found in the end, but there were even more missing person cases that were never resolved, possibly leading back to that very house. They demolished the home of terror, but ghost hunters still head to the area to see if the bad sensations are still there. Number 1. Dr. H.H. Holmes's Murder Castle. We often hear of murder homes, but hardly ever of murder castles, especially in Chicago. Back in 1885, Dr. H.H. Holmes built the castle as a maze-like place with soundproofed rooms and secret passages to take his victims through. It even had trapdoors that led to the basement where he'd kill them. Holmes confessed to only 27 murders, but is suspected of many more, which led people to believe the castle held secrets we may never know. The castle was eventually torn down, and an unassuming post office sits on top of the rubble today. Thanks for watching. As a boy, I remember a house in my neighborhood everyone thought was haunted and was eventually demolished. It turned out the ghosts were actually some homeless people looking for a place to sleep. What do you think? Should these places have been torn down? Let us know in the comments. Before you go, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and give this video a like.